Hey everybody, it's Bruce here from WaterBear and Abby too, and today we are having a topical debate, and the subject is it possible to have a performance career if you're a bit of an introvert? Because I think this question crops up quite a lot. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Artists tend to be sensitive people, and yet we expect them to be pushed out on stage and cameras stuck in the face. And what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I've been thinking about this, and I think it depends on the kind of artist that you are. So
yes.
that was the first thing that got the cogs thinking. It's who are you? So you could look at someone like Lady Gaga,
yes,
who has a persona, and you could look at quite a few successful sort of performers like that, who sort of give themselves a persona to go out with,
yes,
whether they're introverts or not. But obviously, it takes some sort of extrovert personality maybe to be able to go out and do that and present like that.
That's interesting. It's sort of like a character that you play. I was a guitar player, so I found that having a guitar was a shield.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't be comfortable going out and, I tried to introduce a song once and it was really scary. But that's fine.
Yeah, so that's your prop. So it's like having something to hide behind. But then, so I guess it depends on the artist, because then there are other artists out there that it's almost like the introspective music that speaks to introverts. So, different functions of music and art that different artists are creating.
Yes.
That put it out there.
But it's a challenge though. I mean, it's a really good point that in the context, people look for sensitivity, don't they? People tune in to the people that represent them.
That's interesting, yeah.
A couple of days ago, we had Hannah Bolton play a set in the band Bledig as part of a So Far Sounds show. And I wouldn't describe Hannah as an introvert. She's very comfortable on social media.
Ambivert, maybe in the middle. Ambivert, isn't it? Yeah, where you're sort of meeting in the middle.
Yeah, maybe.
Comfortable,
But she did exactly what you said. She's got an amazing kind of wig and stage costume, and it's part of the process of tuning into being on stage. Have you ever had students that have, in the years that you've been teaching, that have really struggled with this?
I would say for sure. I think as working with songwriters, I think it's quite prevalent actually, that sort of introspective personality, more so than people who are performers that might have songs written for them that are ready to go out and really represent that and be sort of
more stage schooly.
More stage schooly, exactly. I find that it's definitely, there's a balance there with introverts versus extroverts.
And is it possible for those introverts to get out there?
For sure, I think so. I mean, you can say that, we can debate that. I can think of a couple of examples. Students maybe struggling with anxiety, as you know, it's prevalent for lots of us, but almost get through because of their songwriting.
Yes.
And they can almost own something else by going on stage, and that almost helps them as part of their therapy. So it's a way of sort of dealing with it.
And you can do it on your own terms, perhaps, because I've seen people who just don't speak to the audience. I mean, we've helped students who've been shivering at the side of the stage, panic attacks, all the rest of it, and let's talk about a few things that we've done over the years. One thing we used to do was kind of a gradual process, which was put your foot on the stage while there's a performance going on. Just be there.
It's like steps.
Sing backing vocals off mic. A few days later, on the mic, have a go at singing a verse. Do the whole song. That's one way of doing it.
So it's like taking measured steps to be able to deal with that and find ways to.
And also, I think there's a real liberating thing that we've done with a room full of people studying music, where we've said, who feels a bit nervous about getting on the stage? And it's probably 19 out of 20 to varying degrees. The one that's really confident is often not as good as they think they are.
No, this is it, isn't it?
And the openness helps.
I think there's a few sort of case studies almost that we could look at. I think there's Fiona Apple. So she's sort of a singer-songwriter, been established for years, 90s, I think she first started going. And she has crippling stage fright. She's a self-confessed introvert. And she uses her music actually to express the experiences that she's had. So how does she then interact with the audience? This is it. She doesn't. So she looks at her feet, But I've spoken to a few people who've seen her live, and they said she's one of the most engaging performers.
Because there's a sort of charisma that she's.
The charisma and the emotion that comes out when she sings, because she struggles so much to just have normal conversation. So it's almost like when the music plays, it's a way to communicate.
Wow. Okay.
Which is.
Yeah. Interesting. So how would she cope with interviews and stuff like that?
I don't think that she does many interviews, But I'm thinking, I haven't seen too many interviews from her. I've seen sort of written interviews. Maybe that's more of a way someone sends the questions, and you can kind of do it that way online
on your own
and
terms.
stuff. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with social media. I mean,
I'm learning about that.
Yeah, well, I don't like being the centre of attention.
Yeah.
But it's a job that we need to do. I like communicating, but I'd be more comfortable if we were all talking to people that have been filmed, if we're all sitting in a pub talking about,
of course.
I think...
More organic sort of.
Yeah, but is it possible for an artist to... I feel this is part of what I have to do, just get over myself.
Big challenge.
And just do it. And by doing it, I've kind of got used to it, and it's all right, some days I even love it.
Feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
Yeah, maybe. But is it possible to avoid this stuff, social media?
I mean, I can think of a few examples. I think it's an interesting thing. I think in today's day with the current trends, I think that this whole 360 thing of being able to engage in social media, but maybe making it authentic to you and looking at some case studies that are similar to you as an artist and looking at how they've done it and informing some strategies could be helpful.
Yeah. Or perhaps doing it on your own terms.
Or being authentic, on your own terms. I think as long as you're speaking your truth, then there's a way maybe to engage and communicate with social media. But I've always had a barrier there with social media. But at the same time, I love communicating.
Blogs, podcasts, stuff like that might work.
Blogs.
But you hit the nail on the head with that concept of communicating the essence and the spirit of what you're about.
Yeah.
And that's the responsibility of an artist. It's not necessarily helpful to try and turn yourself into something you're not.
Especially as an introvert.
Yeah.
I think as an introvert, if you're being true to yourself and you're digging deep into who you are and you've got a message to give, then it's maybe easier to communicate.
So it's okay to be an introvert, and it's also okay not to change. You've just got to be innovative in the ways that you communicate.
So still communicate and talk to your audience,
Maybe, video, because you can control it. You can shoot it yourself.
Edit it until you're happy,
I suppose that's the concept. You find ways of doing it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Another example that I know we're talking about, but Keaton Henson, who's a sort of, he's been around for a while now, but he's sort of a singer-songwriter. And he actually, the way he got around it, he doesn't like to play live gigs, he doesn't like to do interviews. One of the ways he got around with it, he did an art exhibition and he sort of set up a little doll's house and he played for 3 days to single people. I mean, is that effective? I don't know, but it's a quirky way of dealing.
Well, we're talking about it. Yeah. There's a lot of massive gigs that we're not talking about, and yet we're talking about that one.
Yeah, and sure, and it had a lot of coverage. Wow. Because it was really unique and special, but at the same time it's not sustainable.
Well, what I love about that is we're turning something that's a limitation. It's often the way with music. Your limitations are your creative drive. For example, you've got 10 quid to record an album. You can do it, but it'll make you do it in a different way. You've got introvert tendencies. So instead of doing a gig, he's done that, and it's like, it's a talking point. It potentially could reach a much bigger audience by word of mouth, and
for sure, because it's special, it's one-to-one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I guess it's not that big experience that maybe sort of someone else might give, where you're sort of going to a gig and there's a buzz because there's a crowd there, but it still works, and it works for him, and people are talking about him.
So let's I think it's fair to say, if you're an introvert, then be yourself.
Yeah.
Find a way of speaking your truth and use innovation as a way of getting it across. And if you do that skillfully, potentially there's no barrier to your career.
No.
Do you think that's fair?
I think that's fair. I think it's just finding your way of doing it.
And being realistic as well, and knowing when something is actually just not going to reach people, but making sure that innovation is powerful enough.
For sure. And I think it's interesting what you said, where do it. And the more you do it, the more you take part in it, you can almost sort of not become an extrovert, but you can just become comfortable in your own skin.
That's the job.
Exactly.
Getting to the point where we're all comfortable in our own skin and enjoying the ride.
And the idea that it's your message, you're just communicating, you're talking to someone, sort of removing the ego can also help with that.
Amazing. So if you've enjoyed this discussion and you want to do this stuff day in, day out, don't forget we do Masters and BAs at WaterBear. Thanks to the amazing Abby for joining us for this discussion. Abby runs the online degree, and you can study in Brighton, in the heart of Brighton, or online from anywhere in the world. So give us a shout if you want to find out more.